Hey guys, it's David here, and it's currently day 296. I hope you guys had a wonderful day and are doing better than yesterday. But the time is currently 5:22, and I'm refreshed, showered, and ready to go to the gym to hit this amazing deadlift session. And today I want to achieve three things. Is to finish my free code camp project, the one I started yesterday, which I didn't have time to finish, and then start on my next project, my own personal web page. And third of all is to learn more about web serving and web hosting. Now, I know I said the last two, or perhaps all the three goals were supposed to be achieved yesterday, but obviously I didn't do it. Therefore, I'm not going to set new goals today simply because I didn't complete my goals yesterday. It just doesn't make any logical sense to do so, right? So I'm going to do exactly what I said yesterday, today, and that's not delaying or procrastinating my goals because I didn't have time yesterday. Of course, I could make time yesterday, but what is done, and now I have to focus and just give all my energy towards completing these three goals. So, pretty excited with today and pretty keen as to see what other ideas will pop up along the way as my day gets older. That being said, I'm gonna stay focused now, conserve my energy, go to the gym, and this afternoon I'll update with you guys with how everything else is going. But let's just hope that everything will be well. And if we just control our mind, if we follow a routine, then everything should be smooth sailing. I'll see you guys in a bit. Hey guys, it is currently 12:54 and I have finished my first work block. Now, how was it? Well, I didn't really advance in my learning that much as I was mainly a bit unsure as to what I should do to solve this problem. So, for the first 2 hours, I have been spending this time in this frustration, in this uncertainty almost, to try look back at my notes to see exactly what I could be doing to solve this issue. Now, what I also realized from sitting in this discomfort is I realized that if at the beginning I wasn't rushing through my work, if at the beginning I wasn't looking for solutions with AI, then perhaps I would have mastered this craft more easily, and perhaps I wouldn't be spending so long at this one problem. However, because of my rushness in the beginning of my learning curve to coding, it definitely has revelated a lot of holes in my bucket, a lot of holes in my learning. And now I have to pay the price to go back and revisit the notes to look at information and read information once again to really understand the concept. Now, this shown to be an ineffective way of learning. And I do think that if we are learning anything, we should put our heart towards it and don't tend to rush, to rather look at the situation to really understand it yourself. Don't just say you understand it simply because you saw a solution or you saw someone else do it so that you understand it. Because for you to understand something, you have to give a meaning to yourself. You have to break down the solution and articulate it into your own words so that you actually understand it. And the reason for my poor learning is because I am never a good student. That is what I admit. I'm never a good student. I never listen in class. Quite frankly, I hated class. I hated learning. So learning how to code definitely is a new challenge to me. Definitely a new challenge and something I have seen incremental gains because I am willing to sit in this discomfort and eventually find a solution. Now, the only thing I want to improve on is I realized that after 2 hours of not knowing where I'm going, of not finding the solution to my problem, I looked at AI, I asked AI the question, I asked AI for the solution. Now, quite honestly though, and this is the funny thing, I was very close to solving my problems. There was only a few little nuances where I didn't look deep into enough to solve the issue. And by asking AI for help, not only did I feel like a loser, not only did I felt useless, But AI can't answer all your questions to how you want it to be answered. You have to articulate it in a way so that it understands what you're saying. But furthermore, this goes back to how AI is displaying the answers and solutions to us, and you, being the person, may have read the solution and you're like, oh, I understand it. But do you really understand it, or do you understand it because the solution is there? And to me, I know that I only understood it because the solution was present. Even though deeply I know if I was left by myself, then I could not have rewritten the solution in my own words. Because I know that I don't understand it, but I have this illusion of competence because the solution is presented to me. So the funny thing is, and this is the irony of all today's learning from this first work block, is I had more joy and I had a more sense of accomplishment by sitting in this moment of discomfort, in this moment of frustration, and slowly just nudging away at this problem. Even though at times I made no improvements, even though at times I even regressed, this is where I had more fun because I had control and I feel like I was learning. And during this period, my mind was at the sharpest. However, when I switched to help, when I raised my hand and asked for AI to just babysit me through the solution and give me all the answers, not only did I lose motivation, not only did my mind shut off to absorb new information, meaning whatever I was reading, I wasn't remembering. And most importantly, I felt like I wasn't improving at all because the solution is there. So, like, why even bother spend so many hours sitting in this discomfort situation to learn about the problem myself? So, there is more joy in learning, there is more joy in doing something if you do it yourself. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't ask for help if you're not sure how to overcome it. But sometimes we raise our hand too quickly because we don't want to sit in this moment of frustration, in this moment of discomfort. But then, even though it is this moment of frustration that improves and builds your discipline, it creates more will for yourself. It is only in this moment of discomfort can you then grow, can you then overcome your own challenges. But if you are so quickly and so swift to raise your hand and ask for help and ask your neighbors or your friends for the solution for your own problem, then you'll never build this mental discipline to overcome your issues yourself. And what I also notice is that AI will only give you the answer so far. Your friends can only help you thus far. Eventually, you have to go and do it yourself. And if you lack this ability to sit in this moment of frustration, then you never will be able to overcome your own issues when nobody else is around. And this comes back to dependency. If you cannot be independent, then you're going to be dependent on someone. And when that person goes, then you will be worried, you'll start being so frustrated, and you'll probably have a breakdown because you have no idea what to do. Like your sole life and purpose depends on that person or thing. So when they are gone or when they disappear, you don't know exactly what to do anymore. So today, I have learned that even though I am not learning as quick as I want to, even though I am not solving the problem or issue how fast like I have wanted to or wish and hope for, and even though at times it feels like I am regressing back, I know if I take full responsibility of my failures, of my learning or success, then I am growing more as a person. I have more sense of fulfillment. I have an increased level of competence and motivation because I am the one just nudging away at the issue. And when I do solve the problem, I have an increase of dopamine because I have spent this time, this energy to solve the issue. But rather, if I ask for help, then I take the solution for granted. I don't even care if the solution is right or wrong because I didn't work for it. So if at the moment of doubt you think nothing is working, keep doing at it. Keep working at it. Alright, if you have to switch your tactics, if you have to switch the angle you want to attack this problem at, by all means do so. But don't give up too quickly. Don't give up and ask for help too quickly because you couldn't solve the issue right away. Not all of us are geniuses, and geniuses are not born but developed. You can have this innate ability to do anything in life, but if you don't practice, if you don't spend hours practicing your craft, then you never will realize your potential and genius. So don't be too distraught if nothing is working in the moment. But if you just sit here long enough, eventually the solution will come to you. And I'm not saying just sit here and stare at your screen or stare at your problems and issues by themselves. But what I'm saying is be patient, but always attack the issue. Always find ways to overcome the issues. Always use your time to do something so that eventually whatever you're trying will work. But just don't give up, guys, because eventually the solutions to your problems will come to you. And if at the moments you do need help, ask for help. But I strongly suggest that we all take a great amount of time to solve this issue. We all take a great amount of time to try to tackle this problem. Because at the end of the day, if we don't solve this problem by ourselves, at least we have learned a lot by trying to overcome this problem than just saying, I'm not smart enough, I'm too dumb, I can't do this, so let me just ask for help. Because then you'll never learn. And if you never learn, you're dependent. And when you're dependent, you can't truly become great by yourself. That being said, I'm gonna go downstairs and have some food and get right into my second work block because this is life and this is my routine. Amazing day so far, although I made a mistake, but this is definitely a learning curve so that tomorrow or the future of today will be so much better because I am going to remember the things I have learned and I'm going to practice the things I am preaching. That being said, I'll see you guys in a bit.
So guys, it is that time of the day and it is currently 6:45. And this afternoon I spent an hour or so looking at stuff I'm not supposed to look at. And no, I'm not looking at girls in undies or something like that. But I did spend an hour browsing dark web marketplaces. And why was I doing so? Because lately I have realized this thought, this feeling of how it felt before when I was high every single day, how great it felt, how amazing it is to kind of have no responsibilities and just kind of live life in this fairy tale land. And for after I'd done the work today, I just decided to go on there and look at how cheap or how expensive it is to just chase that high once again. Now, did I have the initial thought of purchasing or perhaps relapsing once again? No. But deep down in me, I knew that my subconscious mind was driving me towards that action. That my subconscious mind was driving me. It was probing me, saying like, David, you're doing so good in life. Life is on track again. So maybe you should reward yourself. Maybe you should go back to the old days. Maybe you should just get high and just forget about all your responsibilities because it feels so good. And I'm sure you remember how great it feels. And that is that little demon in the back of my mind telling me to just self-sabotage when life is getting good. And certainly I did thought about it. I did thought about it in the moment of how great it feels, how great perhaps you'll feel again, how maybe I could just smoke one more time or whatever and then just let it slide. That life won't catch up to me, that my consequence won't catch up to me because it's only once, right? And I realized that if I do this, then I'm going against everything that I believe in. If I do this, then I'm going against everything that I stand for and that I have no control over my mind if I do this again. And although the thought was nice, we all think about how great our experiences were before, whether it's a bad experience or a good experience, whether the habit or deed itself is good or bad. Like we always remember how great it feels. But seldom do we think back and self-reflect of how shit we felt afterwards. How sometimes chasing a high for 1 or 3 hours may lead to a more disastrous current situation. That we may think that chasing a high will solve our life issues, but that is only bringing us more issues than we had before. We seldom think about this because we always think about what we can get from this rather than what is taken away from us. And although I didn't think like this for the whole time I was browsing the dark net looking for perhaps another high, I did come to the crossroad where I had the choice to either just look away and just forget about everything, forget about today's browsing, or make the decision to just purchase and say to myself and make this false story saying that I have done so great and maybe I deserve this reward, maybe I deserve to get high again and then just have fun, YOLO, right? You only live once. But I couldn't allow myself to do that because I just can't. I can't let you guys down. I can't let myself down. But most importantly, I cannot go against this belief I have set for myself. I cannot go against my passion, my calling, simply because I have this old memory that doing the drugs or getting high or whatever, it feels good in the moment. I can't just let myself go back to that route simply because it feels great. If we always chase pleasure, then we're not going to be the person we want to be. If we always chase pleasure, then we can't be great. Not like that's period. If you chase pleasure, if all your priorities and actions are guided by how much pleasure this thing can give you, then you're going to be enslaved by instant gratification. You're going to be enslaved by the world, whatever can offer you that pleasure. You're going to be enslaved by it. I'm not saying like I don't like to enjoy pleasure. I'm not saying that I hate pleasure. Like I love pleasure. I love to have fun. But there's a point you have to understand. Like if you always want to have fun in life, you can't then expect yourself to be this superior person. You can't then expect yourself to be extraordinary if you are just like indulging yourself in pleasure like every single one of the people out there. You just cannot expect to win, to be your competition, to be the top in your industry if you just are guided by pleasure. So the reason I didn't go forward with my feeling today is because I understand that if I do this, I'm going against what I believe in. That if I do this, then everything that I have worked up to this point is all for nothing. That if I do this, not only have I lied to myself again, which I probably would not never ever forgive myself for, but what's also most important is that if I do this, then my calling is no longer a calling, but rather a story I had made up to myself to somehow make myself feel better. Because I know that if I have done this, then I am not who I say I am. And sometimes it is difficult to really find that identity of who you are, that what do you stand for, that can let you say no to pleasures and stuff. And sometimes you just have to understand that you'll never find who you are if you don't ever look. And you never will find who you are if you don't let go of the things that is holding you down now. And sometimes that means letting go of pleasure. And whatever the pleasure may be, it doesn't have to be narcotics. It doesn't have to be alcohol. It doesn't have to be women or TV or just TikTok, right? It doesn't have to be any of those. Like whatever pleasure is holding you down, you have to understand that if you want to be the person that is like at his top performance, the best person you can be, then you can't let pleasure control all and every single bit of your actions. You have to have a mind of your own. And that first comes with discovering who you are. And by doing so, eventually, and possibility, you may then find your calling. You may then find your purpose that is going to really consolidate that foundation. But doing so, I'm not saying that you're going to forget about what pleasure feels like. Doing so, I'm not going to say that you're going to be an absolute monk and just be dedicated and hardworking, heads down 100%. Because it certainly isn't like that for me. But what you do have is this unbelievable self-control. What you do have is this unbelievable self-reflection when moments gets hard, when the distraction comes knocking to you at your door. When you are faced with such treacherous choice of decision making like I have today, you have the wit and ability to say no to it. And you're saying no not because you're trying to avoid the urge, but you understand what you stand for now. You understand what you're fighting for in life. And all the distraction is doing to you is going to hold you down, is going to drag you down. And once you understand who you are and who you fight for and what you believe for, it is much easier for you to say no, for you to turn people down, for you to turn the distraction down, because you have a priority now. a priority greater than simply chasing pleasure, a priority greater than anyone can offer you. But it is something that is only discovered through your own self discovery. And this journey may feel like it's never working. This journey may feel like you're going nowhere in this journey of self discovery. But just understand, if you keep on looking, eventually you will find it or it will find you. But when that time comes, when you feel like you have found your purpose, when you feel like you have found your identity, don't let that shit go. Hold on to it, cling on to it, even though the direction may seem a little bit cloudy, even though your compass may not be exact to where you must go. Having that just vague purpose, just having that vague light to guide you is enough. Because eventually, when you follow it, eventually, when you follow that path and start putting in that time and effort, your path will become more clear and your compass will start guiding at one direction consistently. And when that time comes, saying no to distractions, saying no to instant gratification is much easier. And for me, today, saying no to this treacherous choice and yet absolutely maximum rewarding pleasure, as I do know from my old experiences, I managed to say no to this instant gratification because I know that doing so is going against my internal compass, that doing so is going against everything that I am preaching. That being said, if today I have not achieved anything, this perhaps is the greatest win I could say. But today has been more than this. Today has been more than this as I have followed my routine. A routine that is going to guide me to greatness. A routine that if followed and carefully executed on a daily basis will lead to greatness over time. And why can I say this with full conviction? Because this routine, like any other routine set with clear thought and consideration, will guide you onto your route. No matter what journey or where you want to end up, following a routine that is carefully planned out for your desires will lead to mastery in your craft. So, that being said, I hope you guys had learned something from this today. But if not, like always, I'll be here for you guys tomorrow. But until then, good night.